Hi folks, I'm Lo-Fi Nikita and this is my buddy Giselle. God is so pissed about gay marriage and immigration you don't even want to hear about it, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. You know, every now and then you run across an issue that divides the nation into the brutally obtuse and the rest of us, when those who have no lives line up staunchly on one side of a conceptual divide and revile everyone else. At times like that the word God is often heard, and you bet your bejesus that's God with a capital G. We'll hear at these important moments that God likes this, and God likes that, and God hates this, and God hates that. You know, it's hard to imagine what point there'd be in being God if God was all agitated about every goddamn thing in creation. Can you imagine? Like, God creates the universe, and then, instead of sitting back to watch it run its own course, he rushes around like a meddlesome parent with a big fat ass, constantly trying to make sure that all his kids do just what he wants. And when they don't, he gets all red in the great big white face, and it glows with apoplectic rage as he impotently wags his finger at his disobedient creations. But that's how it is. He stews about things. He thinks about how he gave people penises, and he gave them anuses, and how they were never supposed to stick penises in anuses, and they damn well knew it, and they did it anyway, and it just upsets him. He thinks about how he made women have soft, delicious lips, and how he made men have scratchy beards, and how disgusting it is when instead of rubbing their soft lips against scratchy, bearded faces, women want to kiss another woman and her sweet, soft, warm, tender flesh, and it just pisses him off. He gets so damn mad when he thinks about how hard he worked inventing sexual reproduction. He remembers how excited he was when he devised the strands of genetic material in pairs, then delicately peeled them in half, splitting them right up the middle, and stored that genetic material in sperm cells and egg cells and stashed them away in gonads and ovaries. He rubs his hand together in pride and satisfaction when he thinks of his masterstroke, the orgasm, in which two people, having gone completely gaga for each other in a hormonal stew that causes the male organ to stiffen and the female organ to lubricate, would then couple and rejoin that carefully separated genetic material into new formulations never seen before, creating, yes, unique human beings, as different as snowflakes in a blizzard, billions of them, enough to overrun the earth in limitless hordes. And to think that in defiance of spiritual leaders as different as the Pope and Jerry Falwell, the people would not get the message and prevent conception, nay, even terminate pregnancy on the flimsy grounds that the children produced by unrestrained fertility might outstrip the earth's resources. It disgusts him. What a lack of faith. And what makes him angriest of all is that the smart people, so puffed up with arrogance born from their well-developed, well-nourished, well-educated brains, would be the stupidest of all, unable to see what others, less intelligent, can figure out with a modicum of instruction, that all of the so-called evidence of evolution is just a ruse to test them in their love of me, God, that the whole geological record was fabricated by me, God, to see if they would fall for it, that the Bible was laid open in front of them, and they had a chance to choose between this abomination they call science and the truth, as revealed to Hebrew holy men thousands of years ago. And they chose science, their false god, their abomination, their golden calf. That's when he loses it. That's when he says, God damn them. I should have never promised not to wash the world away again in a flood. That was so satisfying when I let it rain for 40 days and 40 nights and all the animals were safe in the ark, and I loved looking at their stupid smug faces they drowned, crying, Lord, Lord, why are you drowning us? And I just laughed and made it rain harder while they drowned the grown-ups, the sinful little children and their goddamn domestic animals, the whole lot of them. But there's still a lot of ways to get even with a recalcitrant race of pathetic creations that refuse all the help you give them, who refuse to accept that even though Jews rejected my son as the Messiah, I still want to have them run the Holy Land and reestablish Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, who understand that even though the Romans killed my son, I support the presence of the Vatican in the holy city of Rome, who don't understand that even though the sixth commandment says, thou shalt not kill, it doesn't apply to godless Muslim terrorists, and most of all, who don't understand that women can't marry women, men can't marry men, and that I care a great deal about what the legislative law, the judgment law, and the popularly adopted initiatives have to say about it. And don't get him started on the immigration issue. When people can't see how important it is that the lines drawn willy-nilly by surveyors across hills, rivers, valleys, mountaintops, lakes, and nature preserves are absolutely sacred, and that people on one side must not cross without the proper piece of paper to the other side of those invisible lines. That drives him completely buggy, which is when God looks most like Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh and all those other white guys who are his voice on this earth. Notwithstanding that they are rich men, and it is supposedly more difficult for a rich man to pass through the eye of a needle than to get into heaven. Because when you're God, you don't have to get into heaven. You already are there. And everybody else better stay the hell out.